Don't let the similar language thing fool you, an English friend warned me when I first arrived in London. It is very different from America. He was right. They drove on the wrong side of the street. There were no cars, or telephones for that matter, in Walton's 17th century London. But there were lots of streams, most of them covered by asphalt today. While Walton walked 7 miles one way from his home on Fleet Street to fish the River Lee, I simply took the tube. Fishing journalist Charles Rangeley Wilson knows the streams that Walton might have fished in his day and agreed to show me some of his secrets. We wouldn't cast dry flies upstream for beautiful wild trout. Walton was not a fly fishing purist, and neither am I. In fact, much of The Complete Angler is about angling with worms and cooking your catch. I still enjoy fishing the way I did as a boy, with bait.
Chub, unfortunately. Try and get him away from those barbel.
It's a big old bear. Good job, Charles. Hey, nice fish.
There you go. One chub.
350 years later, it's not likely that Walton would recognize North London. Car dealerships have replaced water meadows, and tenement houses stand where giant chestnut trees once grew. Ooh, that's a big fish.
Some nice barbel in there, it's amazing.
Oh, nice! He ate it, huh? Though nothing like its former self, the River Lee flowed pleasantly on, echoing the refrain of Tennyson's poem, The Brook, narrated by the brook itself. For men may come, and men may go, but I go on forever.
I'd wash your lips. London River.
Walton was always stopping at pubs to have a few pints with friends. It was nice to know that certain basic natures in men haven't changed. The English Civil War in the 1650s was one of her bloodiest. Oliver Cromwell and his men, the Puritans, led a charge against the monarchy and the Anglican faith. Charles I was beheaded, and the Parliament usurped the monarchy's power. In the midst of this turmoil, Isaac Walton, an Anglican and a supporter of the king, wrote his little book on fishing.
He was a devout Anglican, and Cromwell's men were out to destroy anything associated with the monarchy and with Anglican faith. And I think most likely that Walton left London to escape the persecution.
Walton fled London and a world that had become so violent and alien to him, and returned to Derbyshire in the Peak District, the area where he was born.
I think one also has to remember that it wasn't just the Civil War. The country had been in threat of Spanish invasion, the Armada and terrorism of various sorts for all his life. And if you said the wrong thing, you were quite likely to get your head chopped off. When Charles II came back, everybody heaved a sigh of relief and wanted as peaceful a time as they could get. People wanted to read about wandering in water meadows and chatting up milkmaids and fishing and so on, and I think he supplied that.
The Complete Angler expressed Walton's feelings about the times and his religious views. One of his first arguments in favor of angling is that the earliest Christians, the apostles, were fishermen. He felt that the same characteristics that make a good angler also make a good Christian. That brothers of the angle were peace-loving, meek, and virtuous men. It is thought that Walton's title, The Complete Angler, was in part code for the Complete Anglican. When I arrived on the River Dove in Derbyshire, several hours northeast from London by car. I could see how this sequestered valley would have been an appropriate refuge from war-torn London. When Walton visited and fished in Dovedale, he stayed with his friend and adopted son, the poet Charles Cotton. Twixt these twin provinces of Britain's shame, the Silver Dove, how pleasant is that name, runs through a vale high-crested cliffs o'ershade, by her fair progress only pleasant made. In this so craggy, ill-contrived a nook of this our little world, this pretty brook, alas, is all the recompense I share for all the intemperances of the air.